Welcome to my first ever sketchbook tour video. This is something that I have been wanting to do for a very long time, like most things. Here we are. I'm getting started with making videos about my art, and the first thing that I want to show you guys is my sketchbook. So let's dive right into it. I use a Ranger brand sketchbook. My favorite things about it is that, it has the very nice hard cardboard like cover that's really good for using paint pens and putting, stickers on it. Or my other favorite feature is the strap for when it gets a little too thick. And then I like that there's always like this little pocket, so in case you want to, hold on to something, whether you got like a little leaflet or, a ticket from an event that you went to and you want to save it in there. It's nice, A tradition that I always do in my sketchbooks is I always write the day that I started and the day that I ended. And I do this for a few reasons. One, I like to keep track of how long it takes me to fill up a sketchbook. On average, I see around 6 to 8 months. This is 2 sketchbooks ago for me, and the reason why I wanted to start off with this first sketchbook here, I have a whole backlog of sketchbooks which I plan on sharing in the future, but this one is the sketchbook that I really started sharing on social media, particularly on TikTok, and where I actually got to see some traction for my artwork in really the first time ever, and that was kind of magical, and it helped me fall back in love with the art making process. This is my sketchbook that I started towards the end of 2022, finished early in 2023, so just over a year ago, which feels like forever ago. I don't know why the beginning of 2023 feels like forever ago for me. Without any ado, let's actually jump into this. Like, magical, the first page. Wow. I started off with doing some general drawing exercises. The first one that you see over here on the left, that is a sort of a form exercise, sort of training your brain to think more 3-dimensionally than rather 2-dimensionally, which is a hurdle that a lot of 2D artists have to overcome, and it's very tough. So that's what that practice is there. And this right here with the pillowcases, this is a drawing exercise that classic Disney animators used to use. They in order to figure out how they were going to add emotion to, especially their anthropomorphic characters, how are they able to convey the range of motions that they needed. They would practice that concept with the flour sack, and if they could convey emotions through a flour sack, they could convey emotions through anything, which I just think is pretty outstanding. So back in the start of 2022, I had found this drawing challenge called Swordtember, in which you would design 30 different swords. And if you don't know, I'm also a full-time teacher, so September is the time where folks go back to school. And yeah, don't try to do a drawing challenge at the start of a new school year. You will end up ruining yourself. And then you'll see kind of throughout, this sketchbook has a lot of writing in it. I would probably say, like, towards the end of 2022 was a very hard time for me emotionally. I was going through it. I'll just leave it at that. I was going through it. But you'll also see, like, some work notes, like figuring out how I want to lay out my projects, sort of the day-to-day. I experimented a lot with text in this sketchbook and journaling in this sketchbook, because I always like to push myself in terms of, what my sketchbook is for, and I was using it in this instance as a space for journaling, but also allowing myself to play around with text. And what I ended up really liking out of this is you can see that I'm writing in 2 different colors. These are zebra multi-liners, and I really like the way that the colors overlap with one another. You get like this really vibrant green tone. This page is very simple in terms of composition. It's crazy. I look back on this now and I don't, you know, this is very different from how I work now in my sketchbook, and it's just crazy to see, you know, the difference in 2 years. But here we just have a mechanical pencil and then a brush inking pen, and some more zebra multi-liners. And then of course we have some human anatomy studies. Those are always good just to brush up on, because I still don't know how to draw certain things confidently, like arms. I don't know why arms. And then this is from an old book that I got. I don't know the name of the artist that did this original drawing, but I like collaging with old drawings from time to time. I just think that it's fun. This is when I was tabling at a convention. Not a whole lot going on this page. I'm just sort of trying to plan and think things out and doodling, I think, in between customers and such. Pearl! I love you. Them! It's the worms! Hold on. I'm getting the worms. Worms! 2 years ago, I tabled at my first convention, which was a very big deal for me. At the time, it's something I always wanted to do, and this was the first opportunity I had after the pandemic. And I doodled these worms on a string, and I wanted to turn them into little pride flag keychains. And this was like the first thing that I ever like turned my art like into. Like at first I was just doing like stickers and stuff, but this was the first time I ever worked through a manufacturer. I really love how these came out. Unfortunately, because I realized a design flaw afterwards. I would do the designs differently. I think I wouldn't print them on wood. I think I would print them on acrylic, only because this is such a weak point here that a few of them have broken. But I still really love how they came out. They're quite darling, and I want to make more. I want to design more worms. But I need to sell the worms first. That's always the hardest part. Is I have so many keychains and stuff, and I always forget that I need to market myself. That's like the least fun part about this whole process is actually getting people to buy it. Like, what do you mean people aren't just gonna come to me and ask me for my worms? Anyways, if you were an archaeologist and you found this sketchbook buried like 10,000 years from the future now, people would dissect this, okay? Actually, probably not. It's not that deep. We have some really shitty blind contours, and then I was journaling about trauma, as you do, and then I just glued these circles on top of it so you couldn't read about the trauma. This was a fun one-off doodle. Is the anatomy good? No. Does it matter? No. And then I was watching this video that I'm gonna use editing magic to show on screen here to learn some hand anatomy, because, you know, hands are the most difficult thing to draw. It's totally cool. I'm gonna do that again. This page is fun. More trauma dumping in the sketchbook. Okay, this is kids, if you're listening, this is how you deal with trauma. You write it out, and then you scribble on top of it and pretend like it doesn't exist. Healthy. And then we have a beautiful sketch of the main character of my comic series that I've been working on for the past couple of years. I don't have a lot to show for it, so don't ask me a lot about it. Just look at how pretty she is. Look at my baby girl. This page was almost a flop. And then it wasn't. You've probably been noticing that I use a lot of collage in my sketchbook, and that's because my sketchbook is my place to kind of be a child in sort of like the artistic terms, where I can put stickers, I can put, you know, I can collage in here, I can just do whatever and not give a shit. And that's really healthy creatively for me. Because sometimes you'll get like really cool things out of it. Like, I love these flower motifs. Every time I come back and I look at this page, I think to myself, I want to use that flower motif. Why am I not using this flower motif more? What the fuck is wrong with me? And I think one of my favorite things about it is the color, the vibrancy, and the gradient from like the bright vibrant orange to like a more yellow orange. Or yellow orange is one of like a goldenrod. That's one of my favorite colors. This page originally had, I think this was around Christmas time, so I had my gift list of what I was gonna get the various people in my life, what I was gonna get them for Christmas. And then I pasted this lovely painting on top of, which the title of it is gonna be here. Thanks, editing magic. And then we just had more exploration in my little art sona, my little Seuss guy. This is also there's a lot of interesting pages in this sketchbook, but this also is really interesting. The jump from this page to this page is crazy. And this is only a couple of months, you know, apart at this point. But what I think works so well is that we have all these, like, they're almost like segmented ideas. This feels like a connected set of ideas. This, you know, this eye doodle kind of bleeds into here, which then kind of bleeds into this page here with this very simple drawing exercise. But I'm able to like fill in the space by doing in these zigzag patterns. And I think that it's important creatively to do this, because you're almost forcing yourself, well, what do I fit into these cracks? What do I fill into these gaps? And it just makes your art so much richer for that. This page is special. This page is special. And up here in the corner, you can see a quote from myself from the day that I drew this. I can feel myself falling in love with making art again. The reason why this was such a pivotal moment, not only in this sketchbook, but also for me as an artist, we're coming, I think, maybe like a year and a half after graduating college, and I've been working full-time for over a year at that point, teaching for over a year. It was rough in the beginning, to say the least. And doing this page, you know, forcing myself to continue to learn and teach myself art and art practices to keep up with that, but also find a way in which I can grow professionally, like share myself. I did a time lapse of this and I shared it on TikTok, and I actually got, you know, a decent amount from that, a decent amount of followings and views, and it made me feel like people want to see this, and that was really uplifting. And it also gave me confidence, okay, my art no longer sucks. But just allowing myself to play, while also trying to do studies as well. Yeah, very special page. I love this page. This, I think once we move past this is where the sketchbook really starts to get interesting. Okay, like the first, we're like a quarter of the way in. The first quarter of a sketchbook is always, I feel like, rough for whatever reason. I don't know why. But then I find my groove. This little character design here was based off of a student I had. Just the coolest thing about being a teacher is the kids that you get to meet. And some of them are like, I wish I could have been as cool as you. This girl was cool. This girl knew what she was about, what she wanted from life. Probably not. I mean, she was like 14 at the time. No 14-year-old knows what they want from life. But she knew what she was about, and I loved that for her. And don't read this. I'm gonna block this off. This is like, ooh, therapy. It's okay. I'm okay though. More of this flower motif. Again, girl, bring this back into your artwork. Hatsune Miku. Confession. Well, I don't know if I really need to confess anymore. I love Hatsune Miku. I go down bad for Hatsune Miku. This is my wife. This is my girlfriend. This is my girly pop. I love Hatsune Miku. I've been a long-time fan, okay? I'm 25. I've loved her for over 10 years of my life. Nothing comes between me and Hatsune Miku. Oh, this page is special. This is portraits I did of my boyfriend and I that inspired my holiday card for that year. And I just, again, this sketchbook at this point I was more confidently allowing myself to experiment and explore, and it didn't really feel like experimenting where I don't know what I'm doing. It felt like the kind of experiment where yes, yes, yes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Anyways, super adorable portraits. I love this. Sometimes like the reason why I hold on to sketchbooks is sometimes you'll just get little capsules like this and you're like, oh yeah, I love this. It's art for me. It's art for me. This is just a sweet little doodle of my tired ass in the morning. Yep. I love this page. This is another good page. Like I said, this is where the sketchbook starts popping off. Unfortunately, I can't take credit for Francis and Toby here. I found this in the trash. I know. Who would throw away these good boys? Some ungrateful teenager who created them. That's who. Threw them in the garbage and I saved them. You're welcome. And then we just have some more comic character ideas. You'll see more of that in later pages. I desperately need to see this painting in real life. I added the sparkles, by the way. The sparkles are not in the original painting. But I feel like this painting encapsulates who I want to be. A delightful young man in a flower field surrounded by naked women. That's the inspiration. That's the goal. And then more trauma dumping, but we're gonna move on. I just have one thing to say about this page. If you think I should be crucified for cutting out Pokemon cards and posting them in my sketchbook, you don't know how to have fun. You think you know how to have fun, but you don't. And you don't know what it means to live. So step off. This is a character study for the aforementioned comic throughout this entire sketchbook. It's an idea that I've been working on for years, but I've never had the balls to actually sit down and being like, I'm committing to this project. Anyways, it's just something that I like to do. Commitment. Tracing paper is so much fun to use in a sketchbook because the way that I draw is definitely in layers. I try to find like the primary forms first, and then I go in for the secondary and clean up in between. And then tracing paper just helps with that process a lot because sometimes you can muddy up a drawing with all of your sketchy lines. So it's good just to go in with the tracing paper. This collage is interesting. There's really no message behind this collage other than I tried to like pair things together that I felt conveyed a vibe. If that makes any sense. But I feel like there is something to be said about this. I'm not the person to say that though. Somebody else is gonna do it. Thank you for that. This was my tarot spread for the year of 2023. You can see where 2023 went for me. And here's where I start planning out this Zelda comic that I did based off of a song from Unleash the Archers. It's a fantastic song, by the way. Go listen to this song. And I really wanted to challenge myself by, one, illustrating a comic, because I don't really have a lot of experience with comics, and I desperately want to get into comics. Two, also do this traditionally on like a large scale. Like these pages are huge. And to work with traditional materials that I don't really get to use. I'm not too thrilled with the results. I'll show them at the end. But it was still a really great project to work on. And here we can actually see the lyrics from the song, how I break it down. I want page 1 to be this and this many panels, and this is how I'm going to spread out the lyrics. 2 is going to be, you know, this many panels, so on and so forth. And the way that the song is structured, I actually, and the order that I do it is that it's verse 1, verse 2, verse 1, verse 2, the bridge, the pre-chorus, and then the chorus. And just the way that it would flow, because obviously how the song works is that it's verse 1, pre-chorus, chorus, verse 2. Verse 2 is actually kind of long, so like I've had to break it up. Pre-chorus 2, I don't know musical terms, don't judge me. And then the final chorus. And if you're a Zelda nerd and you read these lyrics here, you know why I made this into a comic. And here I am just thumbnailing out the pages, planning them out, you know, figuring out how I want to use the materials. It was, I wanted to finish this too before Tears of the Kingdom came out, and it just added a whole other level of stress that I was not ready for. All right, so here, I'm not gonna wait until the end of the video. I'm gonna do it now. These are the pages. I don't think that they're, hold on, let me put them in order. Okay, here it is. Pages are all in order. Am I in order? No, but the comic is. So this was like my first big like comic project that I gave myself, because I'd always listen to the song in the car and I would imagine this comic. I would rate the entire comic as like a solid 7 out of 10. The compositions are good. The craftsmanship is okay. Like there are some areas here where I kind of fudged up, and you'll see in like some of the later drawings, like some of the anatomy is like, ooh. But like overall, like this is still like, damn, I did this. This is good. This is good. So like I said earlier, in my sketchbook, this was the first verse of the song, and then it goes into a little bit of the second verse. And for, you know, retrospect, this is before Tears of the Kingdom came out, so like we had implications of what it was going to be about, but it was still a lot of it was a mystery. I love how, this panel, this whole page I think is like my favorite. Like some of the anatomy is okay, some of the values are okay, but like it's still such a banger. I'm still so proud of this page. This is where I kind of feel like the comic starts going a little bit downhill. Like I was like, Tears of the Kingdom comes out next week, like trying to complete it. But overall, still really impressed. I learned a lot, and I still want to allow myself to go back and work with traditional materials, even though I am a digital artist through and through. I still loved doing this. This was still a lot of fun. And sometimes I forget that I can allow myself to do, you know, projects like this. Yeah, this is the craftsmanship really, I don't know, this page is okay. I saved this page for last, I think, because I was unsure of how I wanted to tackle this. This was very, well, also my markers were dying. I think that was the other part of it too, is that my markers were dying, and I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to tackle these two panels here. And then this was rough. The anatomy on this was rough, especially with the Guardian. I knew what I wanted. Like I knew I wanted like these like 2-star things to kind of indicate the laser between the Guardian and on Link's head. But the background for it is okay. It's okay. It's okay. And then this is the last page. The last page I loved a lot, because I got to include a lot of my my other favorite Zelda games. Some of the drawings, like close up, you're like, oh, but it's okay. Nobody's gonna look at it that close up. Don't look at it that close up. But this panel though, the hands are not the greatest, but don't look at them too closely. And then of course the loft wings. And then we have that last panel of Tears of the Kingdom. This panel came out okay. I think there's a lot going for it, like the texture in the background I really liked, and how I did the inks. I wish it kind of like faded out better. and the anatomy of this page was better, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. Anatomy is hard, and I did my best, and that's all I can say for it. Anyways, back to the sketchbook. Oh, and here's a collage that I did with more Pokemon cards to piss you off. This is from an old manga that I cut out and I added alcohol markers to, and then a little drawing I did of one of my other comic characters. Yay! This was for a demo that I did with my illustration and design students, teaching them about how to convey a narrative through a drawing, or how to tell a story through a drawing. And then something else that I saw on TikTok back then was sort of making like a little window page to kind of play around with composition a little bit more in your sketchbook, and also add some interactivity to your sketchbook too, because that's always just fun to create. Another collage that I did with an old print that I made, a sticker that I made, a business card from this artist here, another one of my sticker designs. Yeah, sometimes, again, it's just fun to work with a different art form than, you know, you professionally do, just to let loose a little bit. Of course, no sketchbook is complete without some human anatomy studies. These look okay. This one's good. This one's aight. This one's good. This one's aight. This one's, oh. I don't know how I feel. Moving on. More character concept art designs. Also the last time that I used glitter in a sketchbook. Thumbnailing for a book cover that I never finished until just now, 2 years later. Good job, me. And then I think there's this page. This is a good page right here. This is a environment study of my studio. This is where I make all my art. This is where we are right now. Crazy. But this is my desk. I have sort of like a hodgepodge L-shaped desk. It's really just two desks pushed together to make the shape of an L. And this desk here, this desk that I'm recording on, this is where I work on my sketchbook, where I draw traditionally, and also work on my iPad. And then I've since upgraded from a laptop. I now have a desktop computer now, where I play videos, watch tutorials, and I play shows in the background while I'm working. And then this drawer here is where I keep all of my traditional supplies, and then more other hobby activities. I have a bulletin board, so that way I can collect different bits and bobs. It looks different from how it is now. I still have my dog's paw print. I have more pins and buttons now, a postcard from a fellow mutual artist, as well as some other random things. And then my whiteboard calendar, which right now is acting as an extended bulletin board because I don't really use that calendar anymore. And then some various different prints that I've collected over the years. Oh, this page is so cool because this is the first drawing I had for another comic idea about magical girls, and sometimes it's just fun to look back and see, oh yeah, this was the first time that I drew that character. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, here's a bunch of sticker designs that I did that I never, well, I did make the Protect Trans Kids one into a sticker. I still need to make Mommy's Little Gamer into a sticker. I think I might go with a different font, but definitely need to make that one into a sticker. And then the last page here is a drawing of Wally Darling. Because this is when I think Welcome Home like first came out, and like it was being gobbled up by the internet, and I fell in love with Wally's character design. He's such a good character design. Ugh, love him. And then an unfinished drawing of Sally, I think is her name. I don't know. But that's the whole book. Well, for the most part. I left some pages out that were mostly just writings and notes and not really anything interesting to see. But yeah, like I said, I have a whole backlog of sketchbooks that I plan on going through. So if you stuck through to the end, first of all, who are you? Because thank you. If you are looking forward to seeing, future sketchbook tours, please like and subscribe. You know how YouTube works. You need to hit those buttons so that way I know that you want to keep seeing stuff like this. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye!